With the round of 8 concluding, we are going to be moving into our semifinals now. And our first semifinals is looking like a bit of a repeat from the past. It is going to be Serral versus HeroMarine. My name is FearDragon, and I'm joined here by good old Paulo, aka Cats.
Everyone reminds me of how old I am now these days.
Of how what you are?
Old.
Huh?
Good old Cats, huh? I see you, Ravi.
Well, I mean,
I told you earlier, my doctor made me realize that I was 1 year old.
Wouldn't you have a cat tur?
Huh?
You wouldn't have a cat tur, not a dog tur? Go on with your point.
Like, I went to the doctor like half a year ago or something.
Yeah.
And she was trying to be nice, compliment me, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm older than you, actually." I'm not sure if she was expecting some compliment back. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm like back now, like I'm 30, I'm 31." So, and she's like, "Actually, you're 32." I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "You're 32." I'm like, "No, I'm 31." She was like, "No, you're 32." And then she asked me like, "Is this your birthday?" I was like, "Yeah."
And she was correct.
Yeah, of course she was correct. She's the doctor. So I found out I was 1 year older than I thought.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you had a bad day.
Yeah, it was a bad year apparently that I skipped.
Oh, Lord.
Oh.
Well, I hope that this man here on the right is not going to have a bad day, because facing off against someone as good as this Red Zerg player down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map from ENCE Esports is always a bit rough. He goes by the name of Serral. Reigning WCS Global Champion, winner from GSL versus the World, memer in the Twitch chat that was complaining about infested Terrans not being as good versus battlecruisers anymore.
Yes, indeed.
Sorry.
And we have on the top right-hand side, HeroMarine. $125,000 to his young name.
You know what I recently learned?
What?
They round to those numbers.
Yeah, I can see that.
To the nearest, I think it's to the nearest hundredth of a dollar, instead of like to the 10th or like that kind of stuff. So I don't actually think he has earned exactly 125,000. I think it's probably like it'll be like $125,007 or something like that.
Or under.
Or under.
Yeah.
Could be under. I'm actually not sure. I don't know if I ever saw it rounded up.
I mean, it would look better to round up than down for sure.
It would look better for the players.
So if they're rounding up, that's the way to go. Commendable, I guess. If they're rounding down,
can you imagine? It's like you earn $99 and they just round it down to 0. Like, this guy's never really won any money.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad.
So this is a bit of a repeat from the past. We've seen this match a lot of times. For a lot of 2018, HeroMarine was kind of looked at as one of the big potential players who could beat Serral. And 2018 was the year that Serral won every single WCS stop. So he was unstoppable at that point. But it didn't happen until 2019 at WCS Winter. HeroMarine actually managed to beat Serral in the round robin. And that, I think, set up a lot of hope for him. Hasn't really been able to do it again since. But I don't know, Cats. You know, we have the changes to the battle cruiser. We saw some really strong mech play from Sol versus Raynor. How you feeling about this one?
I gotta say, the EMP as well has been incredible today throughout, both against Protoss and Zerg. It almost feels like Terran is at a very, very powerful position. Of course, they have to adapt, but I was like watching, for example, the TVP against Harstem of HeroMarine. It was very difficult to imagine. Like we were seeing Harstem preemptively storm a lot, and I was like, well, he's preempted. Like, those storms are not landing, but if the EMP shows up, then it has a higher range. So same goes for the infestors. We saw Sol use them to great effect, and sometimes even walk past the infestors for some reason. But when he used them, he would deplete half of the infestor's energy just walking by. So that is a very, very strong tool, the EMP radius upgrade, it seems. So that combined with the battle cruisers, I think that Terran might just have the strongest late game arsenal that they have ever had. And that's where Serral strives. So we'll see if, one, HeroMarine is willing to go there, and B, if Serral has an answer to it.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. I was talking to HeroMarine before the matches, and I had mentioned to, I think, you or Nate, that he said he had a 70% win rate, or percent chance that he thought of beating Hearthstone.
Yeah.
And he beat Hearthstone.
Mm-hmm.
He said he had a 20% chance of beating Serral.
Ooh.
And that's definitely it's an even worse ratio, right?
Yes.
Than the advantage he felt like he had versus Hearthstone. So this should be a tough match. I don't think he's feeling super confident. And we do see Serral adding on that Roach Warren around now. I think he has actually had quite a few games recently where he's gotten pretty aggressive in his opponent's face in the earlier stages of the game.
Yes, indeed. And this is one of the best Roach maps because it is probably the shortest rush distance map on the map pool in spite of those slow zones. And also there is that middle area that we're looking at right now is a good control zone for both of the adjacent potential bases that would be your third and your fourth base. So it's very easy to siege that location from there and cut the blood supply or harass one of those bases on the side. So Roaches, I really, really like. We saw Serral do a little bit of a poke before, and this will both keep him safe and apply some pressure.
Well, the Queens are going to start whittling away at the Hellions. The Hellions don't really see a whole lot of drones at that third base, so I think they decided to back off since Serral's pretty prepared on that front, making sure he doesn't lose too much. And he's just droning behind this, so he's not going hard and ham on a ton of Roaches. This is just enough to try and push back any of those Hellions. And he actually does have 2 Roaches just kind of going straight across the map and ignoring the Hellions. So
yeah,
I'm ready to eat my words.
Yeah, one trend with the very nice Liberator. I mean, not the nicest Liberator, because if Ravagers happen, then,
yes,
you know, but
a little more vulnerable.
But a pretty good Liberator in the sense that it sieges as soon as possible, and there's no Ravagers available, so the Roaches are going to be, you know, stuck here. But there's the Ravager punished.
It just disappears into the ether.
Yeah, and that was a beautiful play by Serral, not morphing the Roaches in front, but in the back and out of range of the Liberator. Should that happen, so that he could abuse it. So should he not relocate, right? So very well done by him.
Very close to a supply block. He does manage to keep that last supply depot alive, though. Otherwise, that would have been a really, really annoying supply block.
Mm-hmm.
But he starts up combat shields. He has his 1-1 on the way. His third command center did finish safely. He's going to go ahead and land that. And there weren't a lot of Roaches produced behind that. It was just those 6 Roaches, 3 which turned to Ravagers. So HeroMarine should be able to establish that third base without too much trouble.
Yeah, and I love that Serral did this because earlier today he did something similar, but it was like 10 or 11 Roaches instead. Mm-hmm. So this time committing even less, forcing a reaction out of his opponent, and getting the Liberator for free. So I do like the tank here anyway to take that third from HeroMarine, and it will be a good response to Roaches. But Serral will be transitioning out into Ling Bane plus whatever he wants, because we see the upgrades are going to be a good indicator of that, even though he is getting more Roaches and Roach speed as he transitions, I suppose.
Yep. And that Roach speed that you were talking about just finishing up. There's the Baneling Nest being added on. Serral grabbing that 4th base on the bottom center side. How do you feel like when the games do start to get a little bit later here, how do you feel like these games on Turbo Cruise end up winding up? Because I do feel like this map has a bit more of a unique layout compared to a lot of other ones.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always going to be... The main feature of this map that's different are the slow zones. So it's very difficult to commit past those slow zones with a lot of units, and that is where you can abuse your opponent. Now, the sides are still choky, so I feel like overall it's a pretty decent Terran map as the game progresses. Mm-hmm. But from what you told me, it doesn't feel like HeroMarine might be willing to play that
super late.
Yeah, I think that he's more of an aggressive player, has a little bit more of an aggressive style. Mm-hmm. But I would love to see him try.
Yeah. We'll see what he ends up doing. For now, he's just doing some mild drop harassment, has a Liberator in the back that hasn't really gotten a whole lot of damage done just yet.
Survives, though. Don't want to turn back, though.
Yeah, this is not probably the area you want to go, but this area seems like you'll be able to safely get out of there. Cleans up a bunch of these Lings that have been sitting there for a while, ready for a counterattack or something, but catching those doesn't have to worry about that. I know Nathaniel is complimenting how much Serral kind of shares with Raynor and just being so good at constantly counterattacking.
Yeah.
Always find the opportunities for that.
They are very, very good at it. 2 of the best, maybe only compared to that That who should not be named. He who should not be who shall
Penguin?
not be named. Penguin, you said.
Yeah. Penguin's very good at counterattacking.
Sure. So,
sorry. Whoa, Marines running straight into the Ravager wall. Not where they want to be.
I mean, they do pick off one Ravager. That's what he was looking for, but I'm not sure if it was worth it. I'm not sure how many Marines he lost. Ravagers are very expensive units, though.
Yeah.
$200 or 200
Time-consuming,
resources.
too.
Yes,
Time-consuming to make.
Yeah.
We have another drop on the top left-hand side where you got the double drop popping in right as the hatchery's finished up, and it looks like the Lings and the Banelings have already seen this coming. Nice focus fire.
Ooh, I thought he was going to get the rest of them too. If he got those 2 Banelings, those Marines can hold that position against all those Lings, and the Roaches would also be forced back. That hatchery probably goes down. And they were targetable too.
Yeah.
He just, he must have misclicked and decided not to go for it.
Well, HeroMarine's going to try and push further along the south side. He still has those Marines alive on the north side, ready to try and push forward once again, but I think there are more Banelings there now than there were before. Focus fires down another couple of these Banelings, but there's still a good amount of creep spread he has to work his way through to get in range of the hatchery, and he is on a timer. The Ultralisk Cavern is nearly finished, and as soon as that finishes, I expect there's going to be chitinous plating on the way.
Yes, indeed. And a strange composition by Serral, not something that you see every day. Mass Ravager with Ling Bane as the protagonist of the transition into Ultras. So I kind of like this, but at the same time, Ravagers are not the most supply-efficient units.
Losing one of the medevacs to the Spore Crawler and losing the other one to the Queens, it seems like HeroMarine got his attention split up a little bit between this attack and the attack on the south side. So now losing out on one major part of the force, that means that Serral can focus all of his attention on this side while also going for a counterattack now.
Yeah, and here are the Vipers as well. When you're as good as Serral, like for most Zerg players, this type of style is so difficult to play because if you can't defend those medevacs, they have unlimited potential to do damage, right? Like technically, if the Terran has unlimited APM and there's no anti-air, which there basically is, and there's Queens only, and they are pretty slow, then you can get infinite value out of those drops. So Serral has to really be on top of this, and he has been.
Yeah, Blinding Clouds covering the tanks, but all the Corrosive Vials not just hitting the tanks, they actually cover a lot of the medevacs. So I think 2 or 3 of those medevacs also going down there. Not something HeroMarine wants to be losing out on when he is also thinking about trying to get up Liberators, or is going to definitely need some Liberators help deal with some of these Ultras coming out.
Yeah, and again, those medevacs should technically basically be invincible at this point in time. So a little bit sloppy from him. A lot of tanks here, and the Vipers are nowhere to be found. So Serral's going to have to back out. Somehow manages to pick up a tank. That's it. Yeah, I don't know where those guys. Oh, kills a swarm.
There's the run by. Not even needing the Banelings to knock down the supply depot wall.
Oh, look at those skins on the Banelings. They're pretty cool too. I hadn't seen those.
Oh yeah.
They're like weird.
Yeah, they look like they have a giant iron blade on the center of them. Do a little extra damage. Maybe the Banelings could finally get an attack that doesn't just involve them killing themselves.
Maybe they're Beyblades now.
They're Beyblades? Beyblades that explode on contact.
Yeah.
That's pretty scary. Isn't it redundant to add blades on something that explodes on contact?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Unless you want it to stick, right? If you had like a ninja star that explodes, that would be pretty useful.
That's true, that's true. But I guess you could like maybe, hold that thought. We do have the Ultras and the Banelings rolling on forward. Blinding Cloud covers 4 of the siege tanks between the 2 Blinding Clouds. There's some more bio on the high ground that's actually killing off a lot of these Ravagers though.
Yeah.
HeroMarine is actually starting to hold the line a bit here.
Yeah, actually the supplies are nearly evened in this fight, so that's pretty decent for HeroMarine. And again, difficult units to replace as well. Very expensive army there for Serral. I want to say more expensive than HeroMarines. Each of those Ravagers 200 resources. Each of those Banelings also like 75 resources, right? So it is a pretty expensive army here.
But it seems like, is he overextending a little bit now? Siege tank in the back line is going to get picked off by the Zerglings, and we're going to start to see more of the bio trying to make its way forward. Runs into the Banelings though. A single Marauder staying alive thanks to the medevacs and the Liberator that's providing cover, but Liberator finally gets sniped off. The Queens are now battling against the bio. Another siege tank comes forward, but here come 2 big boy Ultras.
He's chasing out of creep though, and this is very dangerous. There is enough Marauders that these are very expensive units, the Ultralisk. He can't be doing this right now. He will get kited and pushed back. The reason he's doing this is to protect the hatchery, and finally parasitic bomb going on the medevacs to finally threaten their existence, and that was part of the bad thing they're going for Serral is the fact that those medevacs stay alive the entire time. Not all of them depleted of energy at this point, right? Like they have gotten maximum value.
Yeah. Well, a couple of Lings and Ultras going the wrong way on the move command retreat. No. He's going to end up losing maybe another Ultra over here. And, dude, okay, those tanks on the back do turn purple when they die.
Cool.
They go from red to, or like whatever color the player is, to purple.
Oh, that's pretty cool, yeah. I heard you mention that with Nate. Was looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, neat little death anim. I wonder what happens if you're purple. do you think they turn a different color?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But it'd be pretty cool if they did.
Yeah, man, that Ultra, if it had agency too, it could have killed the entire army, right? Like sometimes.
Yeah, because like you were saying, there's no medevac energy.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, but Serral kind of stabilizing, sort of. I mean, he still has great creep spread going for whatever reason, but HeroMarine is actually ahead now in terms of supply and army supply. So this is kind of dangerous for Serral.
I wonder if we can maybe exploit the slow zones over here a little bit. Try and make it a bit harder for the bio to kind of retreat back through those slow zones away from the Banelings, but it's going to be a bit hard. He's going to try and move forward from two different angles at the same time. The Ravagers making a very slow approach through the slow zones, but he does manage to clean up a majority of this army. HeroMarine, though, HeroMarine's sitting up 40 army supply now.
Sloppy by Serral walking through that Liberator with very expensive tanky units. Where was the rest of the army for HeroMarine is what I want to know, because he didn't have all of his army there for sure. And to your point, HeroMarine was actually using that terrain fairly well too, because he was willing to kite backwards, not into the slow zones, right? And he was pushing onto the top
high ground, yeah.
So I think that was good positioning by him. He just didn't have enough there.
Well, HeroMarine is nearly maxed out at this point, so he's got a handful more Liberators, some more bio coming forward, but he's got to make some value happen with the units he has now. But hey, there's freeing up a little bit of supply with a nice little Baneling run by.
Yeah, that was actually huge. Hits all of the SCVs. They're a difficult decision to make, but you kind of have to let like a few die and then try to repair afterwards. Like he was thinking, I'll repair against the Ultras, but the Banelings obviously are going to greatly benefit from those SCV clumps. Now a big attack leaping forward is HeroMarine, and with the forces of Serral and what they are right now, mostly Ultralists, it's going to be very difficult to contest this Liberator force. He's going to need some Vipers again, I think.
Even the Marauder count's pretty heavy, so it's really tough to try and contest that, like you were saying.
Is there even a Spire in play?
I don't think I've seen a Spire go up at any point. No, there is a Spire that's completed, but he just hasn't utilized it at all.
Well, you want to see Corruptors in production pretty soon here, because otherwise those Liberators are going to have a field day unless there's enough Vipers to get them off position. Serral will have to identify this. I mean, there is the potential for Corrosive Biles, but if HeroMarine spreads them out properly, there's not going to be much that Serral can do. Now on creep, this is dangerous for HeroMarine. But even here, Serral seems very, very shy to engage this.
Yeah, and I mean, by the time he finally feels like, maybe I could, the Liberators are all set up, and that is no longer a fight you really want to take. Creep's ready is starting to receive.
He's going for it for some reason. I mean, there's the Viper pulse, though, and that's going to get a couple of Liberators out of position. But I really like this for HeroMarine. A lot of his army is here in the back. There's no creep over here. This is it.
Serral cannot even really retreat from this that well.
Can't even, no.
And the Ultras are going to start to go down as the Lings finally start to hold a little bit of line.
Those Banelings, be careful.
He picks up into the medevacs and retreats back to the remainder of those Liberators that are still alive. And imagine if there were a few more Corruptors here that were cleaning up these Liberators. I think it was just 1 or 2 Queens that were helping out. But
yeah, a few more than 0 would be a great way to start, because I mean, they're not going to kill themselves, those Liberators, that's for sure. The Vipers are a temporary fix only, and HeroMarine.
Wow. Taking the first game against the GSL versus the world champion about a week ago against some of the best players in the world. HeroMarine sitting up 1-0.
Yeah, I gotta say, maybe the sloppiest game I've seen Serral play in a long time. I mean, he had some Ultralists running by army, very uncharacteristic, right? Like, just strategically, even some of those choices, like not making Corruptors, even though he had a Spire, he never used the Spire at all.
No, he didn't. I'm totally with you, Paulo, because I do think that there are times that you look at Serral, occasionally you'll look at Serral and you'll be like, oh, well, his opponent played so phenomenally. It's not even that Serral.
Well.
And HeroMarine did play well, but I do agree that it did feel like there were a lot of things Serral was doing that you're kind of like squinting and tilting your head, and you're like, huh,
you expect perfection.
Exactly.
Serral,
that's not what I'm used to seeing from Serral. Maybe another player, you see a couple of those mixed in, but not from Serral.
Yeah, not usually. Not more than a couple mistakes per game, I think. So, I mean, no one can play perfect. Let's get that straight. But like some of the mistakes he was making were very uncharacteristic of him. So we'll see. I think that HeroMarine stands a very real chance here of defeating the world champ.
Well, Serral, of course, had his hotkey setup set to memeing, so he was memeing in Twitch chat. Now he's got his hotkey setup set to StarCraft, so we're going to see if he can turn things around in game number 2. We're moving on to Acropolis, but it wasn't even like there was just one kind of sucker punch from HeroMarine that was like, gotcha, now I'm ahead in the game. It's like HeroMarine was just doing a good job with the consistent pressure. He was taking really good fights and really good engagements. He was spreading out his C checks and everything. It's not just like there's this one little fix or this, oh, you pulled the wool over my eyes and I didn't see this coming this first time.
In fact, it was Serral, I think, who took the early leads, right? Like he pushed with 6 roaches, had HeroMarine overcommit, kills a Liberator for free, stops aggression on the side of HeroMarine. I mean, all of that is kind of the type of game where you just look at it and you're like, okay, Serral probably won this because, you know, now we're looking at a comeback from the other player.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what we got from the German Gabes.
The German Gabe, leaving a lot of mouths Gabe wide open. All right, so on Acropolis, this is Turbo Cruise I do think has a really unique setup in terms of its map layout and everything.
Yeah.
Acropolis starts to get more into the line of what we oftentimes end up seeing in the maps, where it's kind of a much easier to take third base and everything. How are you feeling about this one, game number 2?
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, Turbo Cruise with the slow zones, that seemed to also favor HeroMarine in terms of style, right? Like, because Serral was looking to swarm all the time and like ended up pushing off of creep, and pushing off of creep, like once you go past those low zones, it's very difficult to not continue to commit. So when you find the units in the back of HeroMarine, you just go, whoops, right? Like you had more than I thought you would.
Yeah.
And that's just, you know, how do you back away? It's so very difficult. Whereas on other maps like this, it's going to be a little bit more of a free terrain where you can actually disengage should you make, you know, a wrong decision.
Yeah, and it also does remind me back to the moment that Serral kind of gave up that supply lead was when he was kind of attacking off of creep and sort of overcommitted, units coming in from the high ground and everything there from HeroMarine. Something I think he's actually been pretty good about in a lot of his games is getting those really, really sick concaves. So we'll see how things go. Looks like this game is just going to be a pretty traditional Reaper expand. He's up against a Hatchcast pool, so no shenanigans happening in this game.
Yeah. Also with those low zones, very difficult to set up for those wraparounds, right?
Yeah,
those low zones basically are not just difficult to time, but you see them coming, and it's much.
When are we gonna get fast zones, Paulo?
I hope we do. I actually.
Can you imagine that?
I can imagine that, and it's actually, it's actually not unlikely, I think.
You don't think so?
No, I think it's very likely that in the future we see some fast zones.
What color would a fast zone be? Because the slow zones are green.
I would imagine something like purple, red.
Purple?
Maybe orange. I like orange for fast.
It's like an orange, like a red flame, or like an orange flame kind of
orange,
thing.
yellowy orange.
Yellowy.
Yeah,
I could see that. I feel like red is the color that I associate with fast, but if I imagine a red zone, I'd just be like, that's the area you do not go. It's like red penalty area.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't even have to be the same bubble concept, right? They could be a line that you maybe gain some sort of speed for a duration, or maybe it's the type of line that if you travel through it and it's kind of wiggly, then you gain more and more momentum.
Ah, there you go.
You know, that'd be pretty cool. But
cool.
but no, yeah, I think maps have been one of the areas where StarCraft has continued to get very creative and mix it up a lot. So I think it's one of the places where it's also very viable because the community is so involved in it.
Yeah.
And map makers do a lot of the work. So there's a lot of, like, you know, Blizzard will propose a challenge of some sort, one of which could and likely will be fast zones in the future. Yeah, like it's just, you know, it's a...
I'm looking
that would be
forward
cool.
to it.
Yeah.
Do quickly want to note that we do have a pretty fast fusion core here. So HeroMarine going to make the unit that doesn't really care about slow or fast zones because it's got its clever little way of teleporting around the map. It's the good old battlecruiser.
That it sure does. So I like this. I like this as an opener. I'm not sure if it's something, well, now it's something that Serral expects, that's for sure. So we'll get spotted. Serral has been very diligent with this. I was going to touch on this. Serral is like the player that out of all players, I think he invests the most into
Scouting.
tech like this. Yeah, not just scouting, but yeah, because as a Zerg player, it feels bad when you like drop that creep tumor instead of injecting.
Yeah.
Where you get like the overlord speed instead of like link speed, or instead of getting just more money. When you make the pool early instead of the hatch first. Like Serral is the type of player that will do all of these things because he knows that he will catch up, that he's like usually just better than his opponents for the most part. So,
Yeah. Well, you know, Cats, I agree with you in a normal situation, but that last game has me questioning.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to see game number 2 because I think this is gonna really determine a lot of the momentum. If Serral is able to take this game, I think even if HeroMarine wins game number 3 somehow, I really do think that Serral should still have a lot in him to come back. If Serral loses this game though in a similar way as the last game, I'm really worried. I actually, at that point, I don't know that Serral will be able to beat HeroMarine. That's insane to say.
You know what would be cool? If we get Serral's final form where he actually just cuts corners, because he doesn't, right? He actually doesn't.
Oh,
like, can you imagine like Serral like hatch first, not overlord speed, like not creep spread, just inject.
Serral taking risks?
Yeah,
oh,
that would be
God, yeah.
His final form. You know, and it's like, oh, you did it, yeah, you're dead.
I've been giving up all these advantages and playing safe this whole time. Now I take off my shackles, my weighted gear.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much what it is. I've mentioned this before, but like in the episode that I did of the breakdown with Serral, which was one of the shows where I would interview players on games that they had played. He had this game against Innovation where he opens pool first, makes 6 Zerglings, right, which is not 3 drones early on, and it's not a hatchery, it's not terrain early on, so he does that. Then Innovation finds all 6 Zerglings, kills them with a Reaper, and I'm like, okay, so you're behind now. How are you gonna recover? He's like, I never feel behind, you know. And it's like, all right, man,
That's so funny. By the way, interesting trades there. We have 6 Hellions trade out for 5 Roaches. I don't even know how one trades out that cost efficiently for the Terran player. Like, 5 Roaches for 6 Hellions? That's amazing. Now we got a Queen going down here to the Yamato.
And that's crazy.
Yeah, he's just really sick micro, I guess. Well, we got another Overlord getting weakened up. We don't have too many Hellions alive still in the center of the map, so some of these Hellions are going to finally start getting picked off this rounded.
And German efficiency not quite working out for the Hellions this time around.
Well, it worked out at first, but it looks like their lifespan on their shelf lifespan is not that high. Blue Flame is on the way, though, so they're going to be getting a second reboot, a V2, if you will, as well as, of course, the Cyclone upgrades, because we're going into good old Battle Mech. We got those Hellions and Cyclones being added on alongside the Battlecruisers. Yamato was researched for just the 2 Battlecruisers, but it does seem like it's at least halted Battlecruiser production for now.
Yeah, and there's also double armories for upgrades, so Big Gabe is looking for the late game transition into mech. Now, this is not something that I've seen much of him before. So I'm very curious to see, because when I picture Big Gabe, I picture last game, right? Like a relentless aggression, just excellent macro, very strong micro, and that's kind of what he relies on, I think, heavily on his ability to execute. Now this is a different type of game where it's a little bit slower paced. Now it's battle mech. It's not like, you know, like chess type mech where you're just like leaping forward with siege tanks or something like that. It is battle mech into battle cruisers, and it is very powerful right now, but it's not something that I've seen much from him yet. So
okay, well, battlecruisers is going to continue to look for some free damage here and there, but as the corruptors start to make their appearance, the battlecruisers are going to have to get out of scotch.
Swarm hosts.
Okay, I mean, yeah, of course you're going to pair the Swarmos to the Nidus Swarm. That's pretty normal, but how are you feeling about this?
Well, it all comes down to where the Nidus goes and what it's able to do, I suppose. But generally speaking, I don't think Swarmos are going to match up too well if HeroMarine is aware of what's going on. Because HeroMarine already has the Hellions. Hellbats are excellent against against Locust Waves. And that could actually be an opening for HeroMarine to try and push when the Swarm Hosts are on cooldown. So...
even the battle cruisers are pretty good at dealing with those Nidus Swarms as they pop up, right?
Yes, indeed. Like, one of the good things or great things that Serral has done consistently throughout this game as well is gaining that that map control, right? Like, so in gaining that map control against a unit composition that actually could very well contest for map control, especially given how many Corruptors there are out here, it allows for things like this, where Serral can actually choose the location of his Nidus, and now this Nidus and the amount of Locusts have to put some urgency on HeroMarine to actually move out and make something happen, because otherwise he's just going to be getting eaten away constantly.
Well, the Locusts do dive in on the mineral line, and wow, they get a lot more worker damage than I thought.
Oh, those things kill stuff fast.
Yeah, HeroMarine seemed to have noticed the Locusts pretty quickly. He sent the battle cruisers over and everything, but he didn't really pull his workers away from the mineral line. Maybe he thought it was just the production that was going to be under attack, but... loses a decent chunk of workers. It's okay, though. He's got 83 still.
Yeah, the sensor towers are going to be very important, but he doesn't actually spot the Nexus, the other Nidus yet. He's aware of, or is he aware of this one? I'm not sure. Oh,
well, he better find out about that one. He's got a single Hellion attacking. That's not quite enough.
Yeah, and again, he's on a timer now. He's near maxed, so...
everything to the main. Oh, okay. Well, you lose a missile turret or here or there, and you pull your workers away. This is the advantage of going for the orbitals, by the way, and it's over the planetaries at these bases that you can just lift them up, and you don't really risk losing them.
Oh, that bunker.
I think he was attacking his own supply depot.
2 different supply depots now. He's attacking. Not sure what's up with that.
Less than ideal. He's going to start repairing up those other 2 supply depots. But another Nidus Swarm good up in the main base.
Yes, indeed.
There it is.
Oh,
it's no reaction.
Noticed, yeah.
They're the Cyclones, yeah.
Just in time.
Yeah. 2 Cyclones blocking on.
Locust Wave anyway, and they're actually going to punish the amount of units here.
Whoa.
Was that a bait Nidus?
Oh my god, that might have been a bait Nidus to draw units there. Yeah, I think he only got 1, maybe 2 Cyclones there.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is that HeroMarine actually sent so many units to deal with the Nidus, right? Had he reacted sooner, that would have probably cleared all of the units with the bait Nidus.
Well, Serral has to be very careful about moving off creep. He gets some good corrosive biles off, but he's waiting for pathogen glands to finish so that when he gets out some infestors, he can fungal growth down this army, prevent them from easily running back, and punish HeroMarine when he gets too far onto creep.
Yeah, I mean, that's Serral's name of the game right now is kind of just... why is there 2 Nidus here? I'm not sure. But
why not?
Yeah, I suppose so. They are pretty cheap right now. It's one of those things that that I think most people wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of a cost increase, right? It's not like you should be spamming them, but like if Serral is deciding to make 2 Niduses everywhere, kind of for no reason, it goes to say something about that cost.
Yeah. Maybe it's just one of those scare Nidus. You want the sound effect to go off for him. He's afraid for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that's actually a good scare tactic.
Yeah.
And, wow, HeroMarine pulling the soul here.
Gotta be a bit careful about this, but the Cyclones are starting to lock onto some more of those Corruptors, reducing the count. He's actually got Vikings coming out now. I don't know how I feel about those Vikings right now. I know what Nathanius is saying somewhere in the back room. He was like, he's making Vikings, why? But it's not exactly like there's a Greater Spy or anything on the way. It's just 2 battlecruisers. What's he really protecting?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think it's going to help against the Locusts a little bit, but there's better ways. There's the Hellbats. But the Hellbats are a better solution for the time being.
Yeah.
As you can see here. Like, they kill nothing, the Locusts. The problem, though, is HeroMarine is taking damage for free, and Serral is expanding all over the place behind this. He's still working on his creep threat, though it is not as Serral-y as you are usually used to. It is still pretty darn good. Better than just about everyone still. But, okay, finally HeroMarine is willing to push the issue, it seems.
Yeah, almost gets hit by a big fungal over there. Starting to get a few more of these Cyclones hit by them, and the Banelings manage to connect with a ton of the units here for HeroMarine. Yeah. Teleports the battlecruiser out as well. HeroMarine finally gets off of creep, so he's hit some degree of safety here, but this is tough.
Yeah, beautiful flank there by Serral. You wanted speed zones, Ravi? Yeah, the speed zone is to the right-hand side of the map, and that's what Serral used to flank there. And yeah, this is the dream, right? Like HeroMarine took a little while to push out here. Serral has a huge army now, and that's gonna be very difficult to push into.
Yep, battle cruisers getting forced back. This army, yes, it is off of creep, so it's going to be able to be safe versus Serral for a little bit, but Serral has bought himself all the space he's ever going to really need. When you're going for battle mech, you want to be in your opponent's face. You want to be threatening their creep spread. You want to be threatening their hatcheries. HeroMarine, I don't think he's done that this entire game.
He really hasn't, and there's already infestors, right? Like there's already all the answers that you would want for the battle mech, and HeroMarine is still continuing to go for this battle mech. So it's going to be very difficult for him to make anything happen. I mean, there's already plenty of banelings, there's already plenty of infestors. Serral is, you know, he knows what to make against this. And the big problem for HeroMarine is that he, like you said, he never got to move out and do damage because of the Swarmhost Nidus that he was dealing with. I think he might have had an opening, but the problem is if you take that opening and you say, okay, you don't have, you know, X much supply because you just used all of those locusts. If I push into you and I don't kill you, then I lose, right? So it's a difficult decision to make, no less.
Okay, last battlecruiser getting fungal growth, and he does manage to teleport it out at the last second, but he's still likely going to end up losing that base. Finally, HeroMarine's able to put some counter pressure on that bottom center base. Seems like he'll be able to get the hatchery. I don't really see too many units making their way over, maybe a few lings and banelings, but hatchery's going to go down regardless.
Yeah, but this is one of so many hatcheries at this point. There's already a hatchery going on the top right-hand side of the map for Serral, so he's not really going to struggle to repopulate this.
Yeah. Too little, too late in a sense, but HeroMarine is still going to keep at it. If you can get enough of those kind of hatchery snipes or base snipes, that'd be
that was an important one. Nice save.
Ooh. Is it going to be saved yet, though? It's still burning.
Very difficult, yeah.
Those locusts are not giving him a chance either to get any SCVs there. Finally expire. There's the SCV. Whew. Only need one to repair it.
That was a close call, Fox.
Might have another close call over here if he doesn't notice this Nidus Worm. He's got a Cyclone on the way over, and oh no, it's not locking on. Lock-on's on cooldown?
Not sure.
Okay, well, that's a problem. I thought they'd lock onto buildings, right? Yeah, they definitely lock onto buildings.
Yeah, they definitely lock. Yeah, I'm not sure what's up.
Oh no! They got saved for nothing. Infestor doesn't really get a chance to use its fungal, but it doesn't need it because none of the units move out of the corrosive vials, and now the
Liberators.
Liberators.
There's so many units here too.
Oh, there's way too much over here for HeroMarine to manage to make a defense happen. He's trying to reposition his units, but now the Swarmos come out on the north side, shutting down another one of those bases. HeroMarine's really only got one real mining base right now.
Yeah. I mean, this has been a little bit of a massacre. I mean, we've seen HeroMarine cross the map once all game long, like take a punch once essentially, right? With an army composition that thrives on its mobility, not its static defense as other types of mech do. So when you have an army that's as mobile as this one, if you're not out on the map, if you're not able to assert map control, then your army loses a lot of value because a lot of their value is to be gained in their speed.
All right, production getting cancelled by all of these Zerglings in the main base. Are actually going to even head back into the Nidus Worm before they can get too punished.
Nifty.
And the Swarmos come back in and start going after some of these units. No, they actually say, no, army's here. I can go somewhere else.
Yeah, very well done. And they'll go to the main instead, where there's a little bit less army. There is still a couple Hellbats, and so they'll clear most of it, but they'll die in the process.
And there's a starboard here as well.
Yeah,
getting killed quickly.
Serral getting all the upgrades, all the purples, and one of the orange ones. So
the good old purple always speaks as a +2.
Yes, sir. So HeroMarine trying to do what he can. He is in dire straits right now. Again, he has not had any luck on Serral's side of the map for the most part. And these Cyclones, they're locking onto Lings and Banes, and that's just a funny sight. These Infestors, one fungal will end them all, especially on Creep right now, so you gotta be really careful. Just the 4 will get taken out there, but
yeah. He doesn't even want to use the Banelings on the one Cyclone. He's like,
that Cyclone is probably, it's probably not gonna be feeling too good about his
Another Nidus in the main base of HeroMarine. Poor guy.
It wasn't even worth killing.
Yeah.
Poor thing. And yeah, this is just...
Your life is not worth these paintings.
Yeah.
Oh, what a way to go out. Orbital Command gets into the burning. I don't even know that he's making any workers from there, so I don't know if he's going to actually repair that in time. Hopefully he does know. So, okay, there's a worker sent over. But another Nidus Swarm is popping on up, and HeroMarine, despite having so few bases at this point that are mining, is having a hard time keeping up with the multi-prong aggression because he just doesn't have that many units anymore.
Yeah, I think you just need like turrets everywhere against Serral, or like just Vikings patrolling everywhere, because he'll just go Nidus and Nidus and Nidus and Nidus, and a lot of those can be empty. And Serral, you know, Serral is well willing to play the mind games with his Niduses, or just apply pressure wherever, you know, the army is not.
Yeah,
we've seen it multiple times now. A lot of that is because the Nidus is so cheap that it's very difficult to you know, to mess up.
Yeah, I actually really liked Soul's way of using the battle cruisers to deal with the Nidus Swarms, where he was just teleporting them onto the Nidus Swarms, so they were popping up, sniping them off. But GG, Serral looking like the good old Serral that we know, takes the second game and ties up the series 1-1.
And I don't think we're gonna see more battle mech from HeroMarine.
I think after that last game, I would hope not. Yeah, it'd be pretty rough.
Yeah, I think we're going to continue to see more bio. That's where he thrived, and I think that's where his strength lies as well. I was hoping for the battlecruiser transition into something like what we saw Soul do, or what we saw others attempt.
Did you want to see it like in the late game, or did you just want to see it?
Major also did that, I think.
Oh, yeah. Did you want to see like the battlecruiser transition happen quickly, as in he just doesn't stop producing the battlecruisers? Did you want to see like still that kind of period in the middle where he's not really focusing on battlecruiser production, he's still making Hellbat, Cyclone, few siege tanks back at home, and then eventually as the game gets later and later, you start going back into it?
Yeah, it's difficult to say. I think that both approaches are fine, but you have to play to your army's strengths. Again, if you have an army that's incredibly mobile and you're not moving it, well, you know, like you're just wasting a lot of value. So you have to try and be consistent with that. You have the answer for the swarm hosts, for the locust potentially, at least, or partially at least in the Hellbats. And instead he just kind of sat back and kept getting eaten away at. And you know, it's risky to push onto creep, especially against Serral. And I'm not saying that he would have won had he pushed out earlier, but I think it had to be the play at that point. So. Yeah, a difficult position for HeroMarine, and again, it just didn't look pretty.
All right, well, game number 3 is going to be moving on to King's Cove. I know Nathanius was saying this is one of his favorite maps in the map pool these days, or I guess not as so much these days as the last days. These are the old maps now.
Yes, indeed.
No longer in the ladder map pool. That was actually an interesting thing I was thinking about, where it's like all the players that were practicing this week, especially, you know, like a Showtime or Serral or Rainer who coming back from GSL versus the World. It's like they got back and they were like, okay, I need to find practice partners for the old maps. And that's always one of those funny things. I mean, you as a former pro player know like that feeling where you're trying to find practice partners, maybe for an old patch or, you know, like a different map set, and it's hard sometimes because people are like, well, no, this isn't gonna be good for me because I don't care about these maps anymore.
Yeah, yeah, I personally feel that the maps, you know, if they change, they should change for all tournaments, like automatically, basically. But then you would be introducing an extra skill set in adaptability to the players, which not everyone is completely used to, right? Like a lot of people will say like, oh, they started on these maps, this is where I won, therefore like that's what he advanced on, it's what he prepared on, right? But I personally think that it would be more exciting for everyone involved if the new maps were to be swapped in right away.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that. For now, though, this will just sort of be our sayonara weekend to the old maps.
Yes, sir.
I think this is probably the last tournament using them.
Yeah.
I guess GSL? No.
I guess GSL also locks their...
GSL, but GSL also has weird map pools sometimes, and they have maps that are not quite the ladder map pool.
Yeah, I think they had like one of their own at least.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what happens here. Series is all tied up now.
1-1, and we'll see whether or not HeroMarine is going to meet that kind of expectation we were talking about of going for probably more the bio style play versus Serral, kind of like more game number 1. Because again, it was, yes, Serral making some mistakes, but HeroMarine's bio play really seemed quite immaculate. when he was going for the mech, it did seem like he was running into a lot of problems.
Yes, indeed. So that was very problematic for him. And we'll see if he is able to adapt, or even if he goes for the mech, maybe he identifies some of the flaws earlier. I mean, maybe had he spotted even the infestation pit or the Nidus Swarm earlier, right? Like, if it wasn't such a surprise, maybe he could have pushed in before or something. So there's definitely things that could go better and different for HeroMarine here.
Yeah, I really hope that HeroMarine can kind of make something more similar to game number 1 happen, because Serral looked a lot better as well in game number 2. And I want to see a peak HeroMarine with that kind of bio style where he was looking really, really strong in game number 1 go up against, you know, the good old Serral that we know and love, where Serral is looking super strong. Because I feel like if Serral just had like an off day, it sort of take away a little bit of the victory for HeroMarine. Yeah,
I mean, that second game he looked great, right? Like, we didn't see any of those mistakes from Serral, so... yeah, he had a sloppy game 1, I think, but that game 2 was just good old Serral as far as I'm concerned. So we'll see what game 3 brings. It's been a hectic series, a hectic and long day of StarCraft. So thank you everyone watching for.
Yeah, I think we're already like 7 hours in or something.
Yeah, and I am exhausted. I feel sorry for
I know.
a Wisdom Sauce. A Wisdom Sauce has like he doesn't get any breaks actually.
Oh, Wisdom Sauce? Is that how you say his name?
Well, there's 2 E's in
there.
There
are 2 E's in there, that's true. But I never thought of saying it as a Wisdom Sauce. That's pretty great. That's a great troll.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a troll.
I think it's a little bit of a troll. Hold on.
Our observer's name is technically, he thinks it's Awesome Sauce, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so he believes it's one thing and you're saying another deliberately.
Well, yes. I'm reading the name and it says a Wisdom Sauce.
This is like some Artosis level logic of like, no, it's Idra. It's like, no. He says it's Idra. It's like, no. But if you spell it out, it's Idra. Actually,
right.
My favorite new like mispronunciation thing is actually Demuslim. And oh my god, I'm blanking on which map it was. I think it was Acropolis. He's like, it's Acropolis. Wait, what'd you say? It's like Acropolis. I'm like, Acropolis? That's my favorite one so far.
Yeah. But I think if you say, for example, Awesome Sauce, how would people know? Like, if you said like his Twitter is Awesome Sauce,
Awesome
they
sauce
would follow the wrong
E's.
person.
Awesome Sauce with 2 E's.
Or you could say a Wisdom Sauce.
How would you?
Right? A Wisdom Sauce. You would follow the right person, no?
I have to admit that is more accurate in the spelling.
It is. All right, Liberator on the way this time around.
Oh yeah, gonna mix it up a little bit. The Overlord, Speed Overlord, like you were saying, Serral loves investing into this kind of stuff, so he's gonna have a good idea what he's up against and allow him to prepare and make sure he doesn't have to over-prepare for something like another battlecruiser build.
Yes, indeed.
And just to note, we were talking a lot about like the bio stuff and everything, but we do still sometimes see those battlecruiser openings with the bio force or bio plays, right? So, still something you can open up into in the future games. Just keep an eye on. But we do have third command center getting started up. HeroMarine going to try and put on a little bit of pressure with the Hellions and the Reaper, and then meanwhile he's going to try and hit from the back with the Liberator. But Overlord comes back in, is looking to see and confirm if there are more barracks or something being thrown down. I believe he did catch a glimpse of that, so knows it's going to be bio this game.
HeroMarine welling off with a CC. Happy to do so on this map. Most definitely.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to be bio indeed, so we'll see what he is able to accomplish here. Another Liberator in production, and one has already been shift-clicked. And mineral line evacuated. Very difficult to find damage with Hellions on a lot of maps these days, but this one of the more difficult ones.
Yeah, this is only on par with like Thunderbird, where it's just, it feels like, okay, you could make your way up the ramp,
for sure. Yeah.
You're not getting anything done. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And it's like, you get your way up the ramp, you better hope there's no links back there either, because otherwise
it's like a bait and, it's just a complete trap there.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I'd say King's Cove is like the second of the map pool that we have for this tournament. It's like the second easiest map to just take the third base and easily defend it.
Yeah, I mean, the third is pretty far away, so it needs, like, we see Serral has 4 creep tumors, but once those are established, it's very difficult for the Hellions to really, like, find anything, because the queens can walk fast. Before that, you can maybe do something, but that's very early in the game, so it's not particularly easy.
So the Liberator manages to snag a couple of drone kills and goes after some Overlords, and the Queens finally come back to defend. We got the Overseer that looks like a Raven coming on in, getting some scouting information. Just seeing how many barracks there are, confirming, okay, third base is now being established and everything. If I wanted to some sort of pressure, now's around the time that third base is going to be a bit more vulnerable.
Yes, indeed. Very good creep spread by Serral as per usual. He, again, like, I think I gotta start prioritizing creep more, honestly. Just like the very first creep tumor should probably go down over the inject at this point. I'm almost convinced.
Really? You think so?
I vary it, but yeah, I think that's what Serral does for the most part, right? Like the creep. I've seen so many games of Serral where you look at the supply. And, you know, it feels like he should be behind, but then you look at the panorama of things, and it's like, how does Terran push into this when there's that much creep? You know, he just has like enough banelings and enough creep that it's very, very difficult to push into. So it doesn't matter if you're actually trailing behind; it still feels safe.
Yeah, it's a really funny and hard to gauge thing, or like to just make a clear point to say like, oh, well, in this situation, it's more worthwhile to have like 4 extra Zerglings versus having a little extra creep.
Yeah.
Hard judgment call to make.
It is, yeah. Creep value is a little bit less tangible, right? Like,
yeah. Speaking of creep, we are going to be seeing a fight off of creep.
Oh,
Serral's really diving far for this.
Yeah, but that was beautiful. I mean, he gets the Hellions at least, and without those, well, I don't know that there's the possibility of Hellbats anyway.
Well, it's going to get almost every Hellion over here. There's a couple of Marines even getting left over, and there's a single Hellion left in that medevac, but I don't even think it has... it looks like it does have some hit points left over.
Yeah, I mean, not terrible trades. Pretty even overall. In fact, HeroMarine pulling a little bit ahead in the resources lost up, but fairly insignificant at this point. Now, the creep spread continues to be a huge issue, and that's actually also going to cost a lot of money to clear, right? Like in the form of scans. So HeroMarine has to kind of pick his poison here as far as the route that he takes. He's pushing onto this side of the map. Now, I hope that he doesn't make the same mistake that Euthermal was making, in my opinion at least, which was to kind of clear one side and then push onto the other side, even though he was very committed, right? Like, I think that he needs to kind of carve his way in to Serral's
and just
matrix from somewhere. Yeah, exactly. Just choose a pathway and go with it, because especially like seeing as it is Serral, like the creep is instantly replaced anyway, so you really need to put focus on that.
No, I'm definitely with you. I think against a lot of lesser Zerg players, you can get away with that sort of, I'm just taking out the creep on both sides a bit, and you're doing this multi-prong harassment and everything. But Serral, like you said, he is so quick to just replace that creep spread that
he
it's
just
like
runs
you don't
through
get
it.
the chance. If you're taking out creep tumors on both sides, one after the other, then you end up not actually taking out any of the creep really.
Yeah, I mean, you take down 2 creep tumors, you plant 6. It's like, okay, well, it feels bad.
He didn't really make too much progress there.
Yes, indeed.
He's trying to hit the left-hand side at the same time, but the Queens are already on their way over, and the Lings are going to back them up, make sure that those Marines load up, and guess what? Exactly what you said. 2 or 3 creep tumors taken out, 6 more planted.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this is indicative of like wanting to go to the late game, as far as I'm concerned, for Big Gay, but I don't see a very strong transition undergoing. Now, there's a Thor and a Drilling Claws, and we have seen Drilling Claws be fairly effective against Serral because he is so Baneling heavy. Out of most players, he really likes Banelings, and a lot of Terrans tend to neglect these days the Widowmine potential. So against Soul last time around, we saw great Widowmine connections. Earlier today, not as much luck for Serral's opponents, but I think that they stand a great chance against Banelings, more so than tanks.
For now, HeroMarine's going to be stuck with a couple of those tanks before some of those Widow Mines start coming out in larger numbers. On the edge of creep, Serral tried to take a slightly better fight, but ends up, for the most part, just losing a handful of his Banelings. HeroMarine inching his way forward. But still got to deal with some of these mutas. The missile turrets are starting to go up in larger numbers. Drilling Claws is nearly finished, but he still doesn't have too many Widow Mines with his actual army just yet.
Yes, indeed. And he is taking Big Gabe, that is, he has taken the forward front of base. I don't know about this from Serral, like attacking off of creep with Banelings. I mean, that's just a little bit of a waste. And
even into a planetary.
Yeah, I mean, that was never going to accomplish anything unless he caught like a chunk of the army off guard. But there's nothing else going on anywhere on the map. So it's like, you know, chances that that happens are pretty low at this point in time.
Well, Adrenal Glands is on the way, so these Lings are going to get a huge buff eventually, especially since they're keeping up with the upgrades for the most part. It's 2-2 for both of them. But Marines start making their way forward. Ooh, nice Baneling connections.
Yeah, this actually cleared a lot of creep.
Okay. This is that Serral run by that we've been seeing, and he is getting a lot of good damage done.
Yeah, actually those Banelings were completely unexpected. So HeroMarine just runs forward with the tank and siege, thinking, okay, I'll just clean this really fast, and then the Banelings show up unexpected. So that was really nice, and maybe perhaps what Serral was looking for earlier when he ran into the army of HeroMarine, even though he had his mutas with the Zerglings. Now, to HeroMarine's credit, he has done a great job of carving through the middle now. Like, he's eliminated a lot of that creep. I'm not sure that it's the best position to engage onto anyway, because it's such an open space and there's like 3 different pathways that lead to the army there, but at least he has a lot of kiting room on the back of that. So we'll see if he's able to capitalize on this. He is near maxed, and with a higher army supply, soon to have +3 attack, will get to 3-3 before Serral as well. So yeah, I would almost like to see him wait for that as he maxes out, as he continues to clear creep.
Do you want to see him wait for the armor upgrade as well? Because I feel like that's going to be an extra a minute and a half or so. Yeah, the weapon upgrade is nearing completion, but he doesn't quite have it. Serral pushes his opponent back further as he tries to go for another one of these run-bys. 14 more workers picked off, and HeroMarine brought down to 58.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just the great thing for Serral, is it stalls the attack so much as well. And this time around, he doesn't have things like Hydralisks, so it would be very difficult to break this contain in the way that HeroMarine was setting it up, which is like having little amounts of units here and there, because the Banelings won't trade effectively unless it's against large clumps. Now, this type of counterattack, what they do is they make your Terran, the Terran counterpart to basically say, oh crap, I'm taking too much damage, I should move forward, I should try to do something, right?
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, what HeroMarine might have to do. That will completely destroy there. And as we see, HeroMarine trying to make something happen on the side of Serral as well.
Muta's also looking for opportunities to snipe off a couple of Marines. If they can find a tank, they will absolutely go for it. The Overseer does get taken out, so he is going to be a bit blind versus Widow Mines, but there's only 2 Widow Mines, and they're both at the front. They both get taken out.
The flanks from everywhere, too.
Oh, a lot of Banelings come rolling on in. A few more Widow Mines come in to reinforce here. But I feel like a majority of the army right now for HeroMarine is just medevacs. It's not actual attacking
units. There's more medevacs than Marines, yeah. So that's a huge issue, even though he has the army lead considerably so. It's all medevacs that's left over. Now the Liberators here to protect the very few Marines that there's left over. And Serral, I'm looking at the map, just making sure that there's no counterattacks going on, because that is the way that he would stop HeroMarine here. And one of the good things for HeroMarine is actually that he has had that much retention as far as medevacs are concerned. But Serral now pushing on forth with too many Banelings, and these medevacs are in great danger. Okay, the reinforcements arrived though, and now 3-3 is done for both players. So the window for HeroMarine to do damage with an upgrade advantage is also closing in. He has again carved a great deal of creep here, so he is sitting on a kind of a safe position, but he really needs those anchor units, the Widow Mines, the tanks, the Liberators. So we'll see if he's able to set up. I feel like he's kind of pushing a little bit faster than maybe he should. This Widow Mine! Nice.
Is able to keep those alive for a little bit. The Muta count has also gone unabated. It really hasn't seen too many losses so far. And finally, these Marauders are starting to get a couple of pot shots off on not just the units, but the actual hatchery itself. Here we go. Serral does not want to let him any further closer. The Banelings come rolling on in.
Big Widow Mine again.
Yeah, getting a lot of these Lings and a lot of these Banelings, and there really aren't too many left over.
Yeah, this is actually great for HeroMarine. Should he be able to clear this few last Banelings, a good spread. He really needs more anchor. There's the anchor units, a lot of Widow Mines. I would love to continue to see those Liberators or maybe tanks added, but Widow Mines will do the trick. I think they are the unit that has been most efficient, most effective so far. Because, you know, if it gets a clump of Banelings, that can just turn on the fight in its head. The thing is that Zerg units, especially with this composition, they are so short-ranged that once they commit, like look at this Widow Mines.
Oh my God, there's so many.
Kills so many Banelings, right?
Yeah.
And once they're committed, those units, the short-ranged units, if that happens later in the fight where the Zerglings and the Mutas are already on top of the Terran army, those units cannot disengage without taking heavy taxes from the bio because the bio is ranged.
I'm just a little bit worried because this entire time HeroMarine has been doing a really valiant push that he almost feels like he's on the verge of doing something, but still gets pushed back. Serral's just been sitting on 6 bases, taking a 7th now, and the income has constantly been favoring him. That's even with all the mules and everything you might be seeing, because HeroMarine hasn't been throwing down a lot of scans. There aren't any more creep tumors that he's looking to pick off. He's finally on top of the hatchery, and he's finally maybe gonna get it. Oh my God, the hatchery survives and he's getting pushed back.
Yeah, that's a great point to make. I mean, and to Serral's credit, he has been able to do that while defending the entire time. But if we actually look at resources lost, it's HeroMarine that has been much more efficient with basically just this very, very long siege. We've had like 10 minutes worth of siege here, and so the game is very much wide open still. However, now what do you do with this position, right? Like now that hatchery is gone, the sad thing for HeroMarine is where do you push on to next, because
you're gonna get surrounded from every side.
Yeah, like just by inertia, right? Like where the units are spawning is gonna surround you.
You're literally surrounded by hatcheries if you push any further in.
It
so
is.
The reinforcements will create a concave.
This map looks so funny. Like he's surrounded by creep. It's like some sort of like campaign map, right? Like where.
The creep is the concave here right now, Cats.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like fast zones all surrounding our hero here.
We finally got another Ling run by, and he's going to catch a lot of these poor SCVs that were just trying to set up a 5th base.
He was getting lazy on those.
36 workers left over. He did finally establish his 5th base, but that's a lot of damage taken. That's not that many SCVs left over, and he, like you said, he doesn't have anywhere easily to push in now.
Yeah, I mean, this siege was just so long. Had this exact thing happened a little bit earlier, it would have been so great for HeroMarine, but like you pointed out, Serral has been taking bases throughout this entire time, so he's still in great shape, just economically speaking, excuse me.
Yeah. That was not an audio hiccup, that was a real hiccup.
Yeah, that was a real hiccup.
We do have the Marines loading up into the bunker, trying to deal with some more of these Ling run-bys. The Banelings come in to reinforce these poor mules that were fairly freshly dropped. Only about half of their lifespan seen, but they died at a ripe young age. And now we end up seeing Force for HeroMarine trying to make something happen here, but he just has to back out.
Yeah, not the best connections either, and yeah, that's gonna be GG as he falls like 80 supply behind. My God.
Serral is a
game.
beast.
Yeah, he sure is.
God, I just feel like if I was HeroMarine and I had to live through that game, I would just feel frustrated to an extent, because I'm like, you finally break through, you finally carve your way in, you kill that one hatchery that you've just been attacking into for 8 minutes, and then you're like, shit, what now? I don't actually know anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there were multiple points in time where the game could have gone completely different, right? Like, for example, if like some of those run-bys did a little bit too much, like the run-by where the Banelings show up and end up killing a lot of that army, those fights were so close that the siege lasted for nearly 10 minutes or something. So a couple more units, a couple more key units at any point might have given the fight easily to HeroMarine with a good Baneling detonation. And if he kills that base before one of the adjacent bases is up already, then that's a great advantage to take. But by the time he takes it down, it doesn't really matter, because Serral's mining already. It can just transfer those drones elsewhere and keep mining wherever. Which is normal.
Yeah, exactly what happened. But now we end up in a situation where Serral is sitting up 2-1. He had a bit of a rocky start, but he looks stronger than ever in game number 2 and game number 3. And now we move into game number 4. The map is going to be Kairos Junction to decide who is going to be moving on to the grand finals and become our first finalist here.
Yeah, I wonder.
I know. I feel like this is going to be one of, like, I'm super prepared for Serral to have a really close and cool series or game number 4 with HeroMarine, but still end up winning. And then people will just write off the series as like, oh, Serral 3-1's like, who would have expected? And it's like, well, no, HeroMarine really has actually been playing quite phenomenally well this series. I really do think he deserves the credit on this.
Yeah, maybe game 2 a little bit sloppy, but yeah,
Game 2 was
was
probably the toughest one with the mech style, but yeah, game 3 and game 1 really solid.
Yeah, I think that game 3 just on a knife's edge could have gone either way, right? Just very small things, couple more Marines here and there might have done it.
Okay.
So.
Well, map is getting loaded on up, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere because we're not going to a break. We're going straight into game number 4. Might very well be the decider match here. See who's going to be moving on. And I believe the winner will be facing off against the winner of, what is it? It was Drogo and
my brain is
Rainer?
fried.
Drogo and Rainer.
Drogo and Rainer. That's gonna be a.
That's gonna be a. What's the phrase? A
barn burner.
Barn burner. Burn burner. Yeah.
Barn burner.
Barn burner. What? What
a showstopper.
A showstopper? Well, I mean, Drogo is the showstopper because he stopped the showtime.
Sure.
Where did the phrase "a barn burner" come from?
I have no idea.
It's just like, is it trying to popularize the idea that burning barns is fun? That feels like a very rude thing to do.
A barn burner.
Because no one would burn their own barn down for fun, right?
Yeah, certainly not. I'm not sure.
Although I did watch a YouTube video on making barns, and it's actually a lot. That's a lot.
Barns?
Yeah, making like the building like a barn.
Then do you just like get a bunch of hay and stack it?
Well, no, the barn is, you have like the typical image of that big red building with the like. That's like the barn. So like the actual outer building, it's actually a much simpler than you would normally think. Because you don't do a lot of like the outer structuring and laying cement and all that kind of stuff and like the foundation. You don't have to do all that for a barn.
You just paint your building red? Is that what you're suggesting?
But you have to make the building first, so it's not that simple.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's like
it's not like
it's
you're
like
just
an
stacking
advanced
hay and
treehouse type thing.
Yes, actually.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay, it's like
according to the YouTube videos I watched
on making a barn.
Yeah.
Did you make one?
No. Why would I make a barn?
Why did you watch that video? Like, how do you
understand?
You and Nate run into videos of, was it power cleaning?
Power cleaning? Wait, I have watched some power cleaning videos.
My god, just
Look, you don't understand how long the layovers are on some of my flights. Coming back from WCS summer, I almost had a 24-hour journey turn into a 37-hour one because of just layovers and like weather and bad delays. It's tough, man. You got to find these YouTube videos that keep you company. Learn how to build a barn.
I'm sure there's better choices than learning to build a barn or power.
What would you watch?
I'm not sure. I guess StarCraft would be a good start, right?
What if I've watched all of the StarCraft already, Cats?
I'm sure there's some podcasts. I'm not big on podcasts myself, but there's a few. There's a few decent ones.
The correct reply was, it's impossible to have watched all the StarCraft because there's so much StarCraft happening at once that someone with a full-time job that didn't have to sleep because they were a vampire could not actually watch all the StarCraft.
There you go.
Pretty amazing. What a time to be alive, Cats.
Yeah. And the Reaper would be an excellent barn burner because there's usually like the window that he could jump up to pretty easily. And his jets would just
light it on fire.
He would just jump into the barn.
Dude,
it would be a done.
I have to say the new Reaper skin also, like those jets are Blue Flame Hellion jets.
Oh yeah, they are very, very powerful.
They should actually do damage to lings that are following them.
Yeah, when the day started, I actually hadn't seen a few of these skins.
Really?
And and the SCV, I thought looked like a Reaper. So I was gonna comment on how the SCV looks like a Reaper, and then the Reaper pops up. I'm like, all right, never mind.
Never mind. The flame is a little more intense here. Yeah. We do have that Roach Horn coming up around 4 minutes. I think this is similar to how Serral played game number 2.
Yeah.
I think it was game number 2.
First Banshee of the series as well from Big Gabe.
Oh yeah. Banshee is. Actually, yeah, he's mixed it up quite a bit because obviously he did the mech opening and stuff in game number 2, but game number 1 he went for... Oh, God, I'm trying to remember.
It's mostly bio, I think, straight
Yeah, I'm
up.
trying to remember what he... I think he just went for a medevac, or...
Oh, the opener
Yeah, the opener. Because I know he's gone for a battlecruiser, he's gone for a liberator opening, he's gone for...
Yeah, maybe just Hellions, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe just Hellions, I think.
Really nice mix-up, though, from
yeah,
HeroMarine, I have to say. Drop Overlord coming out, though, and this is more than just the usual number of defending units from Serral.
Yeah, he's actually bringing the queens as well, so this could be a little bit nifty. There is a lair, so we could see the queens potentially spreading creep as well on the way there. Should Serral choose to transition?
Oh yeah.
I mean, he is only 5 workers behind, so he's hoping to do some damage here. And the queens are here mostly to deter the Banshee. Does he have an overseer? Is that an overseer in front of his army?
I don't think he has an overseer on the map.
That guy's gonna have to morph into an overseer right now.
Well, he doesn't have cloak.
Yeah, but how can Serral know? Does he just know?
I think he just knows.
Well, that is incredible.
I guess he feels like if there is no cloak, then just he'll find, or if there is cloak, he'll find out about it eventually, and then he'll morph into overseer.
Yeah, but by then he will have lost like a couple
But that's when you do sick Overlord pickup drop micro.
Look at this.
Oh, this is going to be so annoying. The Hellions do get there very quickly, though. Nice reaction time from
very nice from Big Gabe. It's not like I've never seen this happen really, so. I would love to. This Overlord should be pooping right now, and there should be creep being dropped, I'm not gonna lie.
Look, Overlord's gotta poop when they gotta poop, okay?
Yeah, well, this one's gotta go right now, because those queens are doing nothing with their energy, and
he's so close to getting that orbital command, but it starts getting repaired back up.
Oh, I don't know, though.
He goes up to the bunker, yeah. He does manage to break through the bunker.
Great for HeroMarine, actually.
Yeah, the Lings are going to be eaten through some of these Marines and these siege tanks, but the Ravagers have all been taken care of, all but one.
Yeah, I mean, Worker Stab now favors Serral, but I think he's in a very difficult position, especially with the queens going down as well. I don't know, though. Supply also favors him. He is, of course, making mostly roaches. His creep spread not as good as it could be. He won't have the extra creep spread queens, and he only has, I believe, 1 back at home for injects. And there could be creep everywhere here, by the way, Ravi. There could be creep outside of HeroMarine spreading backwards from Serral, right? Like, there was no reason for that Overlord not to poop when you have the lair and 3 queens on it.
Yeah, I guess he was thinking he was just saving up energy for transfuses, but in the idea of, like, when you start to see that this is not working out, having that transition point set up, that would be really, really nice. Well, the double drop,
even just one creep tumor, right? Like,
well, creep tumor is 25 energy. That's still a lot of energy for. It's like half a transfuse.
Is it?
Right?
I mean,
transfuse is 50, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay. It's half a transfuse. Like, you could probably spot a queen that's not gonna have a transfuse anyway, if that was that was the reasoning. Because creep, I mean, Serral is the biggest example of the importance of creep, I think. When you can start over there, like, you know, like, that's worth a mule on the move out.
Well, HeroMarine trying to find some damage here. He finds 2 drones, finds a handful of these roaches. The Lings finally come. Oh, that medevac! Ugh. Very quick target fire there from Serral, and suddenly that attack suddenly just becomes a horrible proposition for HeroMarine.
Yeah, I really like the idea from HeroMarine. I mean, he had to think my medevacs are mostly in the clear here. I just killed all the queens, but no, the new queens arrive for Serral just in time and are in the perfect position to deal with that.
And now we're going to see HeroMarine try to move out with another forest, but losing that first medevac, it hurts even more just because now he really doesn't have too many of his Marines getting healed up very quickly from those stims, so they're going to be losing a lot of health. Tanks, 1 tank does get taken out by the Ravagers. The other Ravagers are focus firing it down. He almost gets a second one. It seems like he'll still have enough to push this back, but oh man.
Yeah, imagine those extra 8 Marines there, right? Like, so much more buffer for the tanks. That would have been a fantastic push from HeroMarine had the medevac not fallen.
Yeah, I am amazed with how much Serral is doing with those Ling drops.
Yeah, he's pretty beast.
Just the fact that he still kept that Overlord alive against all of these Marines running around from HeroMarine is pretty amazing.
I mean, there's not much that HeroMarine can do at the moment about it, right? He would have to get a Viking, and it might be worth it at this point.
Yeah. I mean, even just to clean up some of the other Overlords on the map might be nice, but he's going to find an Overseer running around. Manages to snipe that off with a stick.
How are you so good? Very fast reaction there.
That's not even fair.
Yeah, even with a stim from HeroMarine, he doesn't get it. So
Yeah. Well, Serral is still committing very hard to these roaches, and I was thinking, you know, if you know you're going to be up against the bio, it's very common for a lot of Zerg players to kind of say, okay, well, I can go into like more Ling heavy and Banelings and that kind of thing, but it's just been pure Roach Ravager.
Yeah, I mean, Serral's still looking for a kill move, don't get me wrong. If this is pushed back from HeroMarine comfortably, then Serral will be pretty much dead. That tank on Siege, I wasn't a huge fan of. Oh my god, the big Lings there. HeroMarine is going to be forced to evacuate his third.
He dropped in the main and the natural, and he's attacking at the third. Serral is unstoppable right now. He says, Big Gabe, you took one game off of me. I'm not going to let you humiliate me like that.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that Big Gabe doesn't give up, though, because as over as this looks, he's going to have 2-2 against 0-1 upgrades very soon. So
that's a fair way of putting it.
Yeah, there's a very good chance that HeroMarine can actually stabilize and come back into the... never mind.
Oh, yeah. You see that surround coming in with all the roaches in the backside. Even with all the Ravagers getting focus fired down so expertly, Serral claims victory 3-1. Just like every single one of his GSL vs. the World games.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Even the Grand Finals is actually a 3-1 that then became a 4-2.
Yeah.
He won 4-2, but it was a 3-1. It was best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't have been a 3-1 because it was impossible for it.
So, I mean, Serral is just looking to be in as good a form as he was at GSL vs. the World, taking his series 3-1.
Yeah. I mean, even at the very end there, though, Serral was very much, very all in on that. Yeah. And HeroMarine still had a chance. I mean, if he had a couple bunkers there, or like if the tank wasn't unsieged, or both tanks weren't unsieged,
the drops didn't...
Even if he was a little bit more patient there at the very end and didn't engage and try to... try to kill Serral when Serral's trying to kill him. Yeah.
All right.
It was a good game.
Well, congratulations to Serral. He's going to be our first finalist. And ladies and gentlemen, that means that we have 2 matches left. One other semifinals match still remains. I mentioned it before. It's going to be Raynor versus Drogo. I think that is going to be quite a fun match. And I think it'll be really interesting to hear what people's predictions are. I don't think it'll actually be all unanimous like this last series would have been. But
no, this is anyone's game, I think. I mean, it comes down to, I think, how Drogo's feeling. Drogo is an emotional player for sure. I think Raynor is the more consistent between the two, but Drogo has been playing phenomenal StarCraft as of late. So we'll see. We'll see if he can find that shape, and I think it's going to be a 3-2 either way.
Okay, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with that next semifinals match.